After yesterday's cold front, we are now into a much more typical fall-like pattern as we have a dose of some pretty cool air that's now spread across much of the Midwest. There's that front that went through yesterday, and you can see the rain and the storms that came through earlier on this morning. Well off to our east, there is this reinforcing front, though. Not a big temperature difference, though, but it is kind of a reinforcing shot of dry air and high pressure that will be dominating our weather here over the next several days. And we can already tell a lot of that dry air leading to just clear blue skies across the area as we approach sunset here in the next about half hour or so. And temperature-wise, the coolest day that we've had in exactly a month. The high temperature is 69 today. That's our coolest day since September 7th, so just the symmetry there that it's been exactly a month since we've been below 70, and we get to enjoy this cooler weather here for some time. And thankfully, we also had a little bit of rainfall with that cold front passage as it went through yesterday and through this morning, up to about 1/4 of an inch across most of the area. The exception was across I-88, where we even saw some inch totals from Sterling to Rochelle and DeKalb here, so even a little more than expected with those heavier showers and storms earlier this morning. So some definitely much needed rainfall at that, but the forecast is looking fairly dry, at least for the next several days. May have to wait a while to see any more rain, but tonight down to about 40, cooler than average for this time of year for a change as we stay nice and clear. And that also does lead to that potential for a little drought. However, I think we'll just be on the mild side, if you will, that we don't necessarily see much frost. But across much of Wisconsin and Minnesota, freeze warnings here in the pink and frost advisories in the blue there from Minneapolis down just to north of Madison there. So getting into that time of year where we're starting to worry about the frost and the freeze. But in the meantime, though, it is across these areas where color in terms of the fall foliage is at peak across northern Minnesota into northern Wisconsin. Just starting to get into the more vibrant colors here locally. But as we look further into the forecast for next week in terms of the foliage, we're going to be near peak across southern Wisconsin here heading into this time next week, whereas parts of northern Wisconsin going to be past peak, especially where we see the freeze going into tonight. So getting closer and closer to the peak here as we head into mid and late October here locally. Thankfully, though, the extended forecast does show optimism for at least some wetter weather as we head into next week. That'll kind of help the colors turn a little more vibrant here as we're not completely drying things out. So that is a little good news there as well. No rain to speak of tomorrow, though. Clear blue skies throughout the day. Temperatures starting off pretty chilly in the low 40s, maybe even some upper 30s. But we warm up into the middle 60s, if anything, just below average for this time of year. We gradually start to warm things up heading into the weekend, back into the 70s by the weekend, and further into the 70s early next week. That's when we see our next best chance for at least a few showers, Dylan.